Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and to all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Thumbs up for that. Yay! A very good thing. I've got a click over here on my text file. I have some things written down, some of them important to talk about, some of them not so. I do want to talk about and start off with this though, not my itchy nose. I hate having ADHD brain. I mean, seriously. Because things will happen like this. Until yesterday when this showed up, I forgot I'd ordered it. The game Alien, Fate of the Nostromo. In space, no one can hear you scream. And it is the alien stalks your every move. Survive as the crew of the blah 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 Nostromo. Look at all those pieces in there. I'm going to talk about that as well. But I'd forgotten I'd ordered this until it showed up, and I was like, oh yeah, I did. So, thumbs up. I'm glad. I've taken a look at this. You can play it solo. You can't, of course, or I wouldn't have bought it. Or you can play it up to like 4 or 5 people. Because it's a cooperative game. You all win or you all die. And I think it's great. And I wanted to talk about the actual quality of the parts. This makes the third Ravensburger game. The 2 horrified games and then this one. These they cost. I mean, they aren't like $3 or $4, but they are not expensive for what they offer. I mean, seriously, I bulk at anything that gets even close to $50. If it's over $50, I don't even think I've bought a game that's over $50 yet. And there's stuff that I really want. But the Ravensburgers, this is my third, because they're right in the middle. They're not $25, but they're not $50. They're right in between, around $30. Not bad. So, yeah, I went crazy and I bought that one this month. But I also wanted to talk about, the cost that you get. Look at the page that starts off the instructions. This stuff, they don't just slap these things together for nothing. They have quality parts. I mean, this is a picture of a character card here, if I can get it into view. But the actual character card, that looks almost like a photograph of Ellen Ripley. High quality stuff. And here's one of the figures. Yes, they are plastic. Yes, they are molded. And it'd be, I imagine, slightly more difficult to paint unless you could get a really light primer that's really thin, so it doesn't block details, because these things have some, if it'll focus. Can you focus on that? Well, apparently not, because I'm in the way, I guess. I don't know. But here we are. Come on, no. You're going to have to trust me. It's got fine detail. And here's one of them, the leaning down. And then here, of course, standing up in a goofy position, is the xenomorph itself. Again, very high quality pieces and parts for, molded plastic. But it's all really cool. And here's the thing that also, and don't take me wrong while I talk about this, I think this as a concept is awesome. Because look at this. Age 10 and up. We have a game here for kids, ages 10 and up, based on the movie For Adults, where they are stalked in darkness by a hideous creature that is murdering them one by one until all of them but one are dead. Yeah, I think that's a great idea to make into a game for kids. To be honest, kids should fear stuff that's out in the darkness. There are things out there. I mean, not necessarily. I just think it's horror is good. Kids are fine with horror. They'll come up with the most hideous things all on their own. I was a kid once. I did. All of my friends who weren't me did the same. Violence, horror, and terror are a part of being a kid. The world is crazy. Of course you get drawn to things. So I don't think that's inappropriate in the slightest. There should be games like, I'm not so sure about a Friday the 13th stuff. I don't know if kids about the 10 year of age need to hear about, the monster guy who was a pedophile. So the parents in the neighborhood burned him to death, but now he's come back to murder children in their dreams. That may be a bit far for kids ages 10 and up. But, it's Nightmare on Elm Street, duh. And then Friday the 13th, of course, yes, that one, I definitely think there's absolutely nothing wrong with the idea of kids dealing with a nightmare being who is slowly murdering people one by one, and it seems no matter how they stop them or try to stop them, they can't. Yes, definitely a thumbs up. I've had kids and I still think it's great. Yay. And then let's see what else I have over here. You notice I'm using my left arm a lot. Yeah, I felt earlier in the day a little bit of a stab in my back on my right side. So I'm going to try and be more careful of that. But while I still feel a bit of a tinkle here that tells me I need to be careful, if I'm careful, I should be okay. So I'm going to try real hard to be more careful than I have been. Especially since I recorded the footage that's playing under footage. For video, I don't know what you refer to it as. I recorded the video for what's playing under this using keyboard with this arm. So that was 35 minutes of me possibly overextending myself. Now, I'm just going to play it cool for the rest of the day. But I'm feeling good enough that I could do that. Yay, definitely a thumbs up. What else do I have on here? There's actually quite a lot on here, but I talked about the Ravensburger nerve compression update, the ADHD issues. This is I talked before about loss of cultural relevance and how it can be an unpleasant feeling the older you get, because not only do you have a loss of cultural relevance on your own, and that what you grew up with is gone and possibly being mocked. Let's see, loss of cultural relevance, yes, but you are also having fewer and fewer people around who even know what you were talking about. Because as you get older, people that did live through your experiences die. Strangers die every day. And of course, none of us are special. All of us are strangers. We could die at any time. I cannot tell you the number of times I've almost been kicked off this mortal coil. Even in the last year, I am amazed I'm actually still metabolizing. So, it can happen. You ain't special. I ain't special. None of us are. Remember what I'm talking about. I am having such ADHD brain today. But it's the world going by, and so you have fewer and fewer people to talk to about it with shared experiences. But I'd also mention how that's really been speeding up, because the world that I grew up in ended a long time ago. I mean, by the time we hit the 70s, the 60s were over. But God's above. The world, everything is being lost faster. The person in the comments that brought all this about, and I'm so sorry I'm having such troubles here. The person in the comment was talking about how even they at 23 are feeling that. I'm going to start calling this, instead of loss of cultural relevance, it's cultural decay. Some of it is normal. I mean, the fact that the world that I grew up in is gone, and the fact that there are fewer and fewer people of my relative age group that are around to remember and talk about, that's normal. As depressing as that is, it happens because of time. But we are really seeing just culture being chewed up and just spat out and thrown away at an ever-increasing speed, where the world of, 5 years ago is gone, even 3 years ago, 2 years ago. We sort of talked about that culturally a couple decades back with the idea of culture shock, of being unprepared for the change that's happening. And but cultural decay, I think, is a good way to think of culture being erased. Like this person had mentioned, cars that they grew up kind of gone, bands already vanishing, genres disappearing. That used to take decades. Now it happens in a handful. You can count them on the fingers of 2 hands, sometimes 1. Now, lots of culture comes and goes quickly, like things like pet rocks, stuff like that, novelty junk. Stay focused. But the cultural decay part, I am so sorry about this. Thank goodness I got this written down, and even though I can't remember exactly what's going on, but I have had such terrible ADHD brain where it is hard to remember stuff. And I've been taking my meds for this too, a little bit late in some cases, because I still can't remember to take all my meds on proper time, but I'm supposed to be doing better, and today I cannot keep a thought. So, joy on that. But one of the things to remember, though, one of the reasons it's so hard to deal with is fundamentally our bodies and brains have not changed for thousands of years. Aside from knowledge and nutrition, basically, and education, of course, but I'm talking about physically, aside from differences in nutrition and such, we are essentially the same people that we were 10,000 years ago. Again, because of nutrition, we've gotten a lot bigger than we used to be. We used to be a lot shorter and not as stout. And I'm not even talking obesity, I'm just talking size. Nutrition allowed us to grow into the beings that of the size that we should be, while also providing way too many of us the ability to grow larger than our genes say we should be. So that's not the kind of thing I'm talking about. But for 10,000 years, say, we have been the same. Up until about the 1850s, with the proper introduction of rail, the fastest and most used method of transportation worldwide was horse and cart, animal and cart. For all of our history, we worked at that speed. Up until fairly recently, since our knowledge and technology has gone like this over time until we hit 1600s, and then it's just been a straight wall upward. Oh, this brain of mine. But our bodies and our minds and our brains are still the same as they were 10,000 years ago, when all the big news that we got came from inside of our village. And that news didn't happen often because nothing changed for thousands of years. Occasionally, once or twice a year, you get news from outside your village. And now we get 1,000 times that every hour, while still having the brains of those people. Our brains and minds waiting to be filled with the news from across our village, and possibly the news from outside the village if a merchant or traveler comes by. Yeah, loss of cultural relevance, cultural decay. It is continuing to speed up, and I fear for the future in a very melodramatic fashion. Is there anything else that I've got up on here that's not just silliness? It's all silliness. I mean, nothing matters. We're all going to die. But at the same time, also on the same thing, when I'm talking about how our brains are the same ones we've had and we're not set up and ready for all the changes that we've had, I'm also not a Luddite. While the Luddites are misunderstood and the calling people a Luddite for not liking technology is wrong. That is not what the Luddites were. But in layperson's terms, I am not a Luddite. I love tech. I think it's a great idea. I love the way that society has been going. We've just been letting corporations and capitalism tell us what to do instead of, well, what's best for us. Change is good, even at the speed it's happening. But look at who's getting rich off of it. And then, also, well, I guess this had to do with, it ties in with a different thing. It's someone in comments is getting married, and I think it's a wonderful thing. It just got me thinking of my own marriage, and I remember parts of it quite clearly. I remember the day we got married. I was extremely sick, so I'm amazed I actually remember any of it. And then I remember our first child, her second, and then her third. Our second was the one that accelerated the change and damaged her heart further, which anything could have been the catalyst. It just happened to be an issue with this pregnancy, at which point it was the beginning of the end. And then 10 years later, she was dead in our living room on a hospital bed, having come home from hospice, on hospice. So things can change quickly, and sometimes not quickly enough, because even though it took my wife 10 years to die, it took her 10 years to die. And it was torture for her. She only broke down twice to tell me how hard it was just to live every day. I can't remember where I was going with that. Sorry. I loved my wife. I loved being married. I loved a whole lot of it. But 90% of our memories of what happened in our marriage are tied in with her slowly dying in front of my eyes, changing from the quick-moving, independent woman into the person that I had to help walk to the bathroom until she was dead. and now she's just dead. And then, it's okay, because one day I'll be dead and I won't have to worry about it. That's one of the good things about being dead. You don't have to worry about things anymore. Almost up for that. But, well, after that bummer and the fact that it's 20 minutes, call to action time. If you could like, comment, share, subscribe after that nice depressing talk, that would be awesome. Definitely a thumbs up. Yay! And for each and every one of my Patreon patrons, thumbs up and thank you. It is greatly appreciated. This older guy who does dumb stuff like order games and then forget all about it appreciates your help. You do help me eat, and that is appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you. For everybody that leaves me a comment, you too are appreciated. Definitely. I read every comment that YouTube shows me. I thumbs up every comment that is, not abusive. I heart those that are especially good. Good being a subjective term. And I answer as many as I can, even with my nerve compression, because that shows you that you are being heard, and being heard is important. So thumbs up and thank you. Well, hokey smokes. I know there's more that I usually say, and I can't remember any of it. And I have loud mouth noises today, so my sincere apologies if mouth noises bother you. Hokey smokes. Yeah, I forgot, because my brain, but also on this, I do play an internet game of calling out a secret word and listening to see if that secret word gets called back, because I ask all my viewers, or however many viewers want to play the game, to type that secret word into the comments for two reasons. First reason, blatant engagement farming. Trying to tell the YouTube algorithm my channel isn't dead yet. And number two, it is nice to be heard. So thumbs up and thank you if you choose to play, and if you do not choose to, that's okay as well. But the people who did were Jesse Koskinen, thumbs up and thank you. I am on the net. Don't worry about my depressing ramblings about the horrible things that happen in my life. You have a great life, and I hope that marriage goes wonderfully. And then Larry from Space, thumbs up and thank you. Whamvulance998, I like the name, I have to admit. Gus Garrett, 6838, greatly appreciated. There is Chris in all their flavors, thumbs up. R Talks is tired. Hokey smokes, you wrote a book that I wish I could answer, but my ADHD and dysfunction, and executive dysfunction make it difficult to reply, especially to such dense comments. There's a lot to unpack. I do appreciate it. I have read it. I liked it. I don't know how to answer it. There's so much. But one of the things you were talking about, mention how you do things like think about cannibalism a lot lately. Good golly, Miss Molly, that's the sort of thing I've thought about my entire life, because I've tried to be a fiction writing person during most of my life. I try to deal mentally with the things that I find interesting, and using people as food I find interesting on a weird way. I mean, I'm into vor. But I'm not even talking about vor, because I like soft vor, people being swallowed whole by things and then digested alive. That gets blood flowing in my body. But just the idea of people as food, that one ticks on the, oh, I like that idea. Not the, oh, I like that idea sort of response. And so I've thought a lot about that, like with my cryptid characters, who each one of my cryptids, even the ones who 98% of the cryptids do not act on this, but as much as any cryptid will be your friend, and honestly be your friend, they also feel a constant, desperate, burning need to fill their bellies with human meat. And a lot of them do this. And since they live on sort of plane of our existence. They can see and interact with us, but most of us cannot see and interact with them until you're being eaten. So yeah, I think the idea of people as food is awesome. It's like, take a population and feed the population with the population. Yes, these are not normal society thoughts. I have long ago given up on the idea that I am a normal person. And you know what? I'm glad, because normal is so dull. Thank you for letting me ramble. Well, hokey smokes, I'm 25 minutes and change into this. So I'm going to take care of myself, use the controller for the rest of the day. When I use my computer, I'm just going to take it as easy as I can, and that will be a good thing. Edit, render, upload, try to play my Aliens game, because, hey, as a game for 10-year-olds, it should be fun to play a game about people being murdered in the dark by a creature from nightmares. That's a good game. And I think that it's light and fluffy enough for 10-year-olds. And I hope you get done the things that you would like to get done, because that would be awesome. And if you can't, please do not beat yourself up, because you know what? You deserve better. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very, very good thing. Definitely a thumbs up. The way I talk with my voice, the way that I act while I'm doing this, while mostly when on those days when all I can really do is kind of slow rock while I'm not doing many hand gestures, when I am especially animated on days like today, I am performing like I am on a stage. Yes, this is my public performance voice. I am much more monotone in my normal speaking. Not much more. Not much more at all, but a little bit. Anyway, you take care, because I got to click here so I can get to the stop recording button.